So hi everyone, we are here to solve today's Leetcode problem, which is minimum penalty for a shop. So in this question we are given a customer visit log of a shop represented by zero index string customers. Customers string contain mainly yes and no character. Yes character means the customer visit at ith hour and no character means there is no customer visit at ith hour. In this question, we have to return the earliest hour at which the shop must be closed to incur a minimum penalty. So let me define briefly what is the penalty rules. So for every hour when the shop is open and no customer come to your shop, the penalty increases by 1. And for every hour when the shop is closed and customer come to your shop, the penalty increases by 1 again. So let me define what is the penalty rules by taking a simple real example. Suppose you are a shop owner and you close the shop on Saturday and there are 5 customers who visit to your shop and they found the shop is closed. So you don't consider closing the shop on Saturday to be profitable as you are not able to receive those 5 customers. Now consider another case when you open the shop during peak hour from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock and there is no customer visit to your shop, then you again don't consider these 2 hours as profitable as no customer visit to your shop. So you again penalize yourself by 1. So this is the question. Now I am explaining the example. Consider case 1, when shopkeeper does not open the shop, then he incurs a penalty equal to 3 because he is not able to receive these 3 customers. Now consider case 2, when the shopkeeper opens the shop for 1 hour, then he incurs a penalty equal to 2 because he is not able to receive these 2 customers. Now consider case 3, when the shopkeeper opens the shop for 2 hours, then he incurs a penalty equal to 1 because he is not able to receive this customer. Now consider case 4, when shopkeeper opens the shop for 3 hours, then he incurs a penalty equal to 2. Now you must be wondering why 2. So let me explain why 2. In the duration of 3 hours, there is 1 hour which is non-profitable from the customer point of view as there is no arrival of the customer. Now consider case 5, when shopkeeper opens the shop for 4 hours, so he incurs a penalty equal to 1 because in the duration of 4 hours there is a non-profitable hour between 2 to 3. Okay, now come to the example 2. Since there is no arrival of the customer, there is no sense of opening the shop, so our answer will be 0. Now consider case 3, when there is arrival of customer for entire duration, so the best possible answer should be 4 because there is no sense of closing the shop. So now come to the code.
Okay guys, so as we now have understood how our algorithm is going to work, let's first just understand the intuition behind getting to know which algorithm to implement and how to begin with the problem, and then we will just move on to the code to understand how it is getting implemented in a programming language. So as we learned that we are just having an array and which is having 4, 5 or any number of characters, and we are just putting the barrier of close, which means I close at this point, or I close at this point, or I close at this point, or I close my shop at this point, or I close my shop at this point. So there are 5 possible options for me to close the shop. So I will just iterate over the list considering each and every time possible, and then I will check how much penalty I am incurring due to closing my time at, let's suppose, this time or this time, and I will compare all of them and just return the one at which I will incur minimum penalty. So the brute force solution, as you can think, may be the one in which we just put the barrier of closing at any place and count the number of yeses and nos before it and the yeses and nos before and after this barrier. But we can do it better like this. Suppose if we just count the number of yeses in the whole string of customers. So we will store our number of yeses in a variable total yeses. By that, I will get to know the number of yeses in the string. Then whenever I put my closing time one step ahead, I will just check the character that I have crossed is yes or is it no. If it is yes, the number of yeses before the barrier is increased by 1, and if it is no, the number of no's is getting increased by 1. So if I just know the number of yeses and no's before the barrier and after the barrier, I can get to know my answer. Because basically, if let's say this is the barrier and the number of yeses before this barrier is 2, the number of no's before this barrier is, let's say, 5, and after this barrier the number of no's is 1 and number of yeses is 0. So I want to maximize the number of yeses before the barrier, so it will be 2 in this case, and minimize the number of yeses and maximize the number of no's after the barrier. So basically what I will be doing is, I will be keeping two variables to store the number of yeses before my barrier and the number of no's before my barrier. And whenever I move my barrier one step ahead, if it has passed a yes, I will increase my yes count by 1. If it has passed no, I will increase my no count with 1. So this is the minimum penalty variable which I will carry along with me to minimize it, and I will also carry an index at which the minimum penalty is occurring, which will also be the answer to this function which will be returning at the end. Okay, so this is where our code is running in the for loop. So first I will put my closing time at 0, which means before even first customer comes, I just close my shop. And in the next case, I will put my barrier one step ahead and then another step ahead. So this is how I will be putting my barriers. So when close is equal to 0, I have given 0 hours for opening my shop and I am closing it. So I will just check that whether the penalty is greater than the penalty of current closing time. So the penalty of current closing time will be the sum of number of no's before the barrier and number of yeses after the barrier. So the number of no's before the barrier will be the total number of yeses in the list minus the number of yeses that have occurred before the barrier. So out of total number of yeses, if I subtract the number of yeses that have happened before the barrier, then I will get the number of yeses after the barrier, and this current no will be storing the number of no's before. So basically these two values have to be added to calculate the penalty for the current closing time of the shop. So if it is less than the penalty that I have been carrying along with me, I will assign the current penalty to my penalty variable and tell that this is the index at which this minimum penalty has occurred. And after doing this, I will check whether the customer at the 0th index of my string is a yes or is it a no. If it is a yes, I will say current number of yeses before the barrier is to be increased by 1, and if it is no, I will increase the current number of no's before the barrier by 1. So this is how I keep track of the number of yeses and no's before my barrier, and this will check for all of the values of closing time for before all of the customers, like this and this and this, and one edge case is remaining to be considered, which I will be considering at the end of the loop. And if the penalty at the end of the loop is actually smaller than the penalty that I have been carrying with me, then I will say that answer will be equal to customers.size, which means you have to open your shop for all of the hours and you have to cater all of the customers. So this is where I am updating my penalty value and the index at which the minimum penalty has occurred, and this is where I am just implementing my logic of how I will be solving this problem. So although this problem has been assigned minimum or medium, but this problem is a very easy one. So this is how we can solve it, and this is one of the many problems that we have solved on our channel. If you like such videos on our channel, please do consider subscribing to it. Please like it, and if you found any doubt, or even if you have any suggestions for us to improve in what we deliver to you, we request you by heart, please comment us down your concerns, and we will surely reply to it as soon as we see the comment. Thank you very much for your kind love, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you.